Okay, so my name is George Zervos. I need my glasses. From Tototheo Maritime, and I would like to continue the session about satellite communications and ICT discussions, and more importantly, what's developing in space right now and shaping the business of commercial shipping. We have some common opinions with David and some interesting different ones. So we all know how sorry, yeah. No, it's not. Call that. So we all know how the satellite communications has developed from the early days in 1979 with Inmarsat, with then Iridium and the VSAT systems that we all rely on today. It has been a busy 43 years history, and we have seen how broadband connectivity has evolved, speeds improved, bandwidth got better, and latency shortened. Now we have seen some new players, as David rightly said, so emerging in a new age of space communication. We heard in July that there will be a merger of OneWeb, who plans a low-orbit satellites into Eutelsat, who already have geosatellites, predominantly for the video market. Eutelsat, of course, owns already part of OneWeb, along with the UK government. This move allows Eutelsat to move into a new market area, namely the growing communications and connectivity space. Last year, of course, SpaceX under Starlink bought Swarm, bringing together two ends of the satellite service offering, which can offer a competitive service in the maritime market. Swarm actually once claimed to be able to offer the kind of service Iridium does at a very low cost. Some satellites are small and relatively cheap to build and launch using SpaceX. There are plans for the company to launch thousands, as David rightly says so, which added to their other satellite company, which means there will soon be thousands of units in space, many on low Earth orbit. There are now, I believe, over 7,000 satellites orbiting our planet. Not all are communication satellites, of course. Many are offering positioning services, government and scientific monitoring, like weather and climate. For the romantic, this means that the clear sky is now crisscrossed with white dots, like drifting stars moving from one horizon to another. For shipping companies, of course, there's an opportunity for more service providers, faster speeds, lower cost, offerings as they see the benefits of deep-sea communications. The satellite communication, however, has been very expensive and requires time to deploy, and not being sort of controversy. Iridium filed for bankruptcy back in 1999 after spending over $5 billion in their network. Inmarsat has its moments. The biggest of the satellite providers and the host of the safety network, it too has had some financial issues over the years, and recently bought by Viasat for $7.3 billion. And Speedcast faced also Chapter 11 bankruptcy back in 2020, and bought by the Centerbridge partners, and I believe Marling's bought out only recently as well, and had some changes there too. Now, I picked up some data on satellite comms, UCC, from an independent UK consultancy that offers some insights into maritime satellite connectivity. It says by the end of the last year, there were more than 39,700 vessels using VSAT connectivity. Revenues for those alone amounted to $1.26 million. There were also high-speed voice L-band on 47,000 vessels, and there is 80,000 vessels with active low-speed and no voice services. Inmarsat's Fleet Express is reaching nearly 12,000 vessels and is still growing. In total, it's believed that the market was worth $432 million in aggregator services of revenues. The revenues are 42% in 2021 from 2020. So where do we go from here? The maritime world is a changing place, driven by social and environmental changes that we heard earlier today, bigger ships, bigger data, and to top everything, a transition in the global communications and technology. The key objectives of going from one port to another in the most efficient way, be and stay profitable, keeping assets, people, and vessels secure. However, that hasn't changed. What I would like for us now to consider is how the hardware and software developments in space are helping opportunities for data communication services in shipping. What are the opportunities? What are the challenges to the shipping industry to maybe create new business models and create new revenues? Smarter ships require smarter operations, which require faster internet connections. Will those two services deliver tangible benefits to the ship owners? How are the new suppliers able to make the difference? How are the incumbents responding to the challenges? Is low price a driving factor? We heard some interesting comments here today. We heard people saying that they want internet price to be reduced. We heard other opinions that people want the right internet and price is not as important. So is the price the driving factor, and how elements such as crew welfare is playing a role? It is undoubtedly that mergers and acquisitions that was seen as Viasat buying Inmarsat and Eutelsat with OneWeb and Starlink with Swarm. I believe this will going to continue for the next few years. Space is a volatile industry at times, but the pandemic and the need to rely on remote service and communication has helped this. What pandemic did was to create stronger trust in the technology. However, the pandemic also stress-tested some technology companies, as I mentioned earlier. And when we trust something, we tend to use it more. There has been discussions how satellite communications is becoming ever-present, but how will we see more work is in creating seamless connectivity, as there is a demand for real-time connectivity between satellite links and terrestrial, like 5G, for example. We can already see how seamless connectivity will be developed, and ship-to-port services will be an integral part of this, given the drive happening with just-time arrivals, slow or optimized streaming, and port collaborative decision-making. We need better collaboration to ensure that we ease congestion, and then have the trust and open dialogue to ensure such issues can be alleviated before they worsen. But let us discuss security. We already touched on the subject earlier on today. With increase in data traffic, we often talk about the need to be more aware of the risks embedded in data transmissions. How can we progress? This is going to be a battle. This is going to be an ongoing battle. And on another similar issue, don't we need to make sure for greater redundancy? Later today, Mr. Chrysostomou will discuss the growing capabilities of autonomous shipping and system. So I will not go into in depth, but we have already seen, and in fact, Tototheo Maritime has been involved in the trend towards digital ship management, automated data collections and data assessment using artificial intelligence to determine improvements is now commonplace in many industries, and we have been instrumental in setting this up in the shipping industry. So for this to be a secure part of the efficiency, we need satellite communications that are also secure and reliable. There are warnings recently that military tensions in the space and increased risk of space debris could lead to satellites being out of action, especially if there are thousands in the various near and low Earth orbits. All the companies involved in developing their respective parts in the communication value chain need to ensure and have the strength of their own part of the chain and to collaborate and trust those who are within their chain too. We need to work together. We need to trust, because without it, there will be no collaboration. We also need to trust and collaborate with new partners in a way we've never done before. As a few years ago, Shaw hybrid IT solutions, a combination of on-cloud and on-premise solutions, have now become the norm. Could a hybrid connectivity become the future? Combining multiple satellite providers, 5G and other communication channels can be the best possible service, be available to ensure high quality of service and 100% uptime. This is something we haven't discussed earlier today. It's all good to say what we need and the extra bandwidth, but without 100% reliability, we won't be able to do any of those things that we all want to do today. Interestingly, earlier today, or yesterday I believe, OneWeb announced that they were using some of Eutelsat's satellites, which means that they will have less need to put further satellites up in the space. Actually, it will be a reduction of around about 25%. So I don't want to take any more of your time, but just a thought-provoking question is, could the current conventional Ka and Ku solutions become the L-band of the future, and L-band be just a safety? Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.